Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kenna. Today we're making a cherry choker. You can make this with different sized beads or make it a bracelet if you want, but this is part 2 in our beaded jewelry summer series. I will link all of the materials I use in the description, but for now I am using 0.12 size seed beads. They are very, very small. So I'm dumping them out, and I'm going to need these seed beads, string, a needle. A beading needle is very, very useful. It's really difficult if you don't have one, and a clasp and a circle guy. So I'm going to cut out the string so that it's about 2 feet long. We're going to make sure it's at least 1 foot when it's folded. And then we're going to take one side of that string and we're going to put it through the clasp, and then we're going to fold it in half. So we're going to hold the ends together and pull until that is at the very top. So from there we can either tie a knot with that string, which will keep it nice and secure, or we don't have to. And I personally don't do it very often because it's actually kind of tricky to do so. So we can just ignore the fact that I did that. Unless you also want to do it, then this is how I would do it. But for the most part, I usually just string it through and then start stringing beads onto it, because the beads will hold the string together and keep it in place. Then we will be getting the ends of the string on into our needle, which this honestly proves to be the trickiest part sometimes, so good luck with this part. But we're just going to string both of the sides through the needle and leave a little tail so that it doesn't fall out while we're working with it. So now that I got that through, I'm going to pull a little tail into there, and then I'm going to start my beading. Voila. So I'm going to start with my white, because that's going to be like my main color of the actual necklace, and I'm going to put 6 on this first one, and then for the rest of them, every time I do white, I'm going to do 9. That's just my spacing. You can do whatever spacing you want. It really just depends on your preferences and how close you want each cherry together. I want mine a little more spaced out. That's why I'm doing 9 or 10 every time, other than the beginning and the very end. And the reason I'm doing less on the beginning and very end is because technically when it's on, those parts will be together, and so it's going to be 12 beads in total because I'm just doing 6. So that's why I kind of like to balance it out and make them a little bit shorter on the sides. Then once we have that, it is time to make our cherries. So we're going to first put on a green one, and then we're going to put 2 red beads. After that, we're going to pull them to the bottom so that they're with the other beads. And then we're going to take our needle and we are going to go back through like in a circular motion. So we're going up that green bead. We're going to go back through with our needle and thread. And then we're going to pull that tight. I like to hold it against the other beads as I go so that it stays secure. There we go. We've got our first cherries. So now I am going to just tighten that and make sure it's nice and close to the other beads, because I don't want it to be too spaced out, because sometimes that can look a little messy. But then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to add 9 more white seed beads. Once I have those added, I am going to start again with another cherry. So let's do it again together. I'm putting on 1 green one, and then I'm putting on 2 red ones. And then from there, I'm going to pull them down to the other beads, and I'm going to go back and around and through that first green bead, but not the red beads. Then I'm going to hold them against the bracelet as I pull it. Careful not to tie a knot around the actual necklace. Sometimes I let the knot catch on my finger so that it doesn't tie up the bracelet and mess it up at all. Then I'm going to add 9 more, and basically I'm just repeating this pattern for the rest of my bracelet / choker, whatever you're going for, until it is the length desired. You can know whether it's a good length for you if you drape it around your wrist and kind of hold the ends together and see if they touch, or you can also check if you're doing a choker by doing the same thing around your neck. If you want it to be a little bit looser of a choker, you're going to want it longer. If you want it to be a little bit thicker of a or tighter of a choker, you're going to want just enough to make it all the way around. So it really depends on preference, and we will skip ahead so you don't have to watch me do this a million times, and as soon as you're to that point, we'll continue. So now the choker is as long as I want it to be. As you can see, I have a lot of excess string, so if you want to make your string shorter, you can, but I just like to do it this way. I made the end 6 white ones to match that beginning, and now I'm going to finish it. So I'm gonna cut the string so it's long enough that I can tie, but not too long to be annoying. And then I'm going to string this onto this string. And then I'm going to tie a bunch of knots and keeping it right next to the beads to secure it. I'm also going to be adding some super glue because that always helps me to make sure that things stay in their place. So now I'm going to super glue the part of this that is tied onto it, and then I am going to cut the excess strings off once that has dried. And it's done. I hope you enjoyed making this as much as I did. Make sure to like this video and leave a comment to help me out.